first part of Doctor Who Season 1's big climactic season finale is nearly here. It's going to be epic and explosive with shocks and revelations and answers, but what specifically can we look forward to in the legend of Ruby Sunday? Well, as ever, we have Ncuti Gatwa as the 15th Doctor in yet another new outfit, the kind of white t-shirt with leather jacket and jeans. And it's not even his final outfit of the season, because that kind of monk habit is still yet to show up that we saw in the trailers. Perhaps we'll see that this week, perhaps it'll be next, but either way, this week the Doctor is on a mission. He's returning to UNIT for the first time since the Giggle. He needs their help to find out the truth, not only about this woman who appears to be following him across time and space, but also about Ruby's own heritage and birth and the mysteries surrounding her. With this being the 15th Doctor's first season finale, I think we can expect some drama there, some dramatic scenes for the Doctor, some challenging material for Ncuti, some really Doctor-defining stuff as he goes up against whatever big bad he's going to face. As ever, the Doctor's companion Ruby will be at his side, played by Millie Gibson, and with this story being literally named after Ruby, I think it's safe to say that she's going to play a pretty big role in this, and with the mystery surrounding her birth, we can expect to finally get some answers about her origins, about the identity of her birth mother, about what went down that night at the church on Ruby Road. Again, this is the first season finale for Millie, for Ruby, and with her being so kind of integral to the series as a whole and to the kind of whole story arc, I think there's going to be some really challenging material here, once again, very dramatic scenes, heartbreak, devastating revelations, shocks and surprises galore. I don't think we're going to get all of the answers at once, straight away, but I certainly think that by the end of this 45-minute episode, there are going to be some things that we've learned about Ruby and about her mother and about her family, which kind of change everything forever. So like I say, this story sees the return of UNIT. We briefly saw Kate Stewart again in a kind of alternate universe, or whatever that was, in 73 Yards. She briefly encountered Ruby, but like I say, did that count or not? Do the characters remember that? Who knows? Either way, this will be the first time that the 15th Doctor has encountered UNIT and Kate since the Giggle, since the day of his birth, so to speak, with the bi-generation. Obviously, with this new era, we now have this established family of UNIT characters who I'll be talking about in just a moment. We have this fantastic new kind of UNIT ops room set as well. And it's always great to see Gemma Redgrave as Kate Earthbridge Stewart again. I think with every passing appearance, she becomes more comfortable in that role, more established, more authoritative. She sadly won't be joined by Ruth Madeley as Shirley Ann Bingham this time. I believe they're like scheduling clashes or something, so that character will be returning in the future, just not in this story. But she will once again be joined by the Doctor's former companion, Melanie Bush, from the 6th and 7th Doctor's era, who previously returned, well, first of all at the end of Power of the Doctor, and then more substantially in The Giggle. At last, this character is now being done justice, and Bonnie Langford is being done justice. Mel is now this computer whiz that she always should have been, working for UNIT. She was also present for the 15th Doctor's first moments for the bi-generation, so it's going to be lovely to see her interact with Ncuti and spend a bit more time with him. We know from filming and the trailers that there's going to be a sequence where the two of them are on a Vespa with Mel driving, so that's going to be great fun. There was also a throwaway line from the Toymaker in The Giggle about Mel being an orphan, a kind of new addition to her backstory. Obviously Ruby is a foundling, and so I think we can expect to see some kind of conversations there with the two of them. Also returning in the story as part of the UNIT team, and also last seen very briefly in The Giggle, is Donna's daughter Rose Noble, as introduced in The Star Beast. So she's going to be the kind of main link back to the 60th specials. As far as we know, there's going to be no appearance, from her mother or her family or the 14th Doctor, who technically is still on Earth. It's going to be great to see Rose again, because she was the kind of first original character we met in this era, this RTD2 era, very much like Rose Tyler in RTD1. And I think the role has basically grown and blossomed into something much more than it was originally intended to be, just simply because Yasmin Finney was so great to have around on set, so Russell thought, why not have her back? It is a little bit of a weird one in terms of ages and timelines and stuff, because in The Star Beast, Rose was about 15 years old, I believe. She was a child. Now she's got this job at UNIT all of a sudden. Perhaps there'll be some sort of time jump that explains that, or perhaps not. I mean, this season we've already had the line in The Devil's Chord about Ruby being from June or July 2024, which made absolutely no sense, so maybe this will just be another one of those things. One UNIT recruit who definitely is a child is a new member of the team, Lenny Rush, playing Maurice Gibbons. I believe this character is some sort of child genius, kind of hence, why he's there in Unit, so that one can be explained away. And Lenny was originally up for a different role in the season. He was originally going to be the voice of Eric the Space Baby in Space Babies. Then I think at the read-through or just afterwards, Russell and the team kind of thought, why don't we save him for the finale for a bigger, better role? I'm not that familiar with Lenny's other work, but I've seen a couple of clips of him online and stuff, and he's a very funny guy, he's great. I think one of the first things I saw him in was the Children in Need sketch, not last year, but the year before, where it's going to set in an office and he's like the boss or something, which was the same Children in Need that Millie Gibson's Doctor Who casting was announced at, so it's funny how these things work out. That is already a jam-packed cast, but it does not stop there. We've also got Alexander Devrient back as Colonel Ibrahim, again introduced in The Giggle. We have Genesis Linnea playing a new character called Harriet, who seems to be working for or with Unit. I get the feeling that maybe she's not to be trusted, but who knows. We have another new character, Bailey Sinclair, played by Fela Lufadaju. And the three women connected with Ruby and her street, Minto Road, her mum Carla, her grandma Cherry, and her neighbour Mrs. Flood. There's one photo in particular that has been released which shows Mrs. Flood in the Sunday's flat in Cherry's bedroom, kind of there at her bedside, which looks very sort of threatening and mysterious and kind of ominous. So it looks like the mystery of Mrs. Flood is going to be somewhat developed in this story. Rounding off the cast list, we have Colonel Chidozie, we have Corporal Sullivan, who maybe could be related to Harry Sullivan, with this being a Unit story, and the return of the Vlinks, also introduced in The Giggle. Of course, the one other cast member who I haven't yet mentioned, who's been appearing every week in this series, in every single episode, is Susan Twist, now appearing in what appears to be her final form as the technology businesswoman Susan Triad. I've done a whole separate video on Susan Twist, on Susan Triad, speculating about the role she could be playing in the finale, whether she's friend or foe, who she could be working with or working for. So do go and check that out if you haven't already. But in short, in summary, this actress has been appearing, like I say, in every story of the season, in various different roles, various different guises, personas, and now with the finale, we're finally about to get some answers about who she is, what she's up to, why she's been split across all of time and space. This has been a really compelling mystery, kind of like a living, breathing version of the Bad Wolf storyline from Series 1. I've really enjoyed following it and speculating about it, and yeah, I can't wait to see what the answer is. Likewise, I'm very, very intrigued to see what the true antagonist of this story, of the finale, is, and the kind of big bad for the season overall. We know about Susan Twist and Susan Triad already, and have done for some time, but it's been very, very strongly implied that there is something else, some other kind of antagonist, or monster, or foe, that is being held back from us, possibly a returning monster, or foe, or antagonist from the show's past. I believe in one interview, Ncuti talked about facing the Doctor's greatest enemy yet, and it being operated by little green men in the green suits they use for all the puppeteering stuff, which suggests the big boss will involve puppeteering in some way. Elsewhere, Russell has described monsters that will make you scream that will be appearing in this story. So I think it's going to be a separate thing again to the big boss. Maybe I have the big boss and then some foot soldiers, and then Susan Triad perhaps working with the boss or for the boss, or maybe being in league, or maybe kind of being betrayed by the boss. Could it be the boss, as described by the Meep in The Star Beast? Or perhaps the one who waits, described by the Toymaker and Maestro? Whatever the case, I think we'll get some answers about this big bad at the episode's cliffhanger, along with answers about lots of other things involving, Ruby's birth or her birth mother or any of those things. And yes, that cliffhanger is the final thing I think to look forward to, the big thing this week. It's been hyped up by Russell. He said that this is the episode that he's recommended watching at midnight the most out of all the episodes in season 1, because the cliffhanger is going to be shocking and is going to leave us screaming into our television screens. I'm so intrigued to see what it's going to be. There have been no leaks or anything like that, to my knowledge, so they have managed to keep this under wraps, and now it's like a day or so away. I really hope it lives up to the hype. I hope it is as shocking and surprising and game-changing as Russell has made it out to be, and certainly if there is some massive game-changing reveal or return of a character or a monster, I think it really, really could be something special. What are you looking forward to in The Legend of Ruby Sunday? Be sure to let me know all of your thoughts and theories in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, please do subscribe for more stuff like this in the future. But otherwise, until the next one, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye for now.